St. Elizabeth farmer charged with murder. A Common Pen District St. Elizabeth man was charged on Monday in relation to the death of a 62-year-old farmer during an argument. He is 37-year-old Jerome Reed, who turned himself into the police and was subsequently charged. A court date is being finalized. The incident happened on Saturday, March 16. The police report that about 6 p.m., Reed and Paul were having a heated dispute when Reed used a tool to hit Powell in the head. Paul was later taken to the hospital where he received treatment. However, Powell succumbed to his injuries 2 days later. Higler charged over fatal knife fight. 36-year-old Higler Damon Lewis, otherwise called Jackfoot and Rasta, of Mountain View Avenue in Kingston, was on Monday charged for the stabbing death of a man along North Parade in downtown Kingston. Killed was 27-year-old Shandell Paul Williams of Rockington Road, Kingston 2. Reports from the Central Police are that about 9:10 a.m. on Monday, March 11, a verbal altercation developed between Lewis and Williams. According to the police, the squabble became physical, after which Williams tried to walk away from Lewis, who had attacked him. The police say knives were brought into play, and Williams managed to inflict a stab wound to his attacker's abdomen after he was stabbed in the neck. Both men were transported to hospital, where Williams succumbed to his injury, and Lewis was admitted under police guard. A murder charge was laid against Lewis on Monday, March 25th, after he was released from hospital. A court date is being arranged for him. Man charged for murder committed 22 years ago further remanded. A man charged for the stabbing death of another man in Portmore, St. Catherine over 22 years ago was further remanded when he appeared before the parish court. Anthony Errol Reed, otherwise called Christopher Reed, and Christopher Barrett, 48, of Marley Acres, St. Catherine, is charged with murder of Dinsdale Heslop, otherwise called Prince, of Amberley Close in Portsmouth. When the matter was mentioned, attorneys at law Peter Champney KC and Oswald Senior Simit told the court that their client's status prevents them from applying for bail. Parish Court Judge Daniel Nelson Gale then ruled that the matter be mentioned on May 1. Allegations are that about 10:30 p.m. on December 20, 2021, both men were at a bar along North Avenue in Portsmouth, during which Barrett allegedly used a knife to stab Heslop. He died from injuries received. The accused man later fled the island to the United States of America. He got into trouble with the law and was incarcerated. He was subsequently deported to Jamaica on December 21, 2023. Upon being returned to the island, he was taken into custody by the St. Catherine South Police and subsequently charged with Heslop's murder. Dispute between ex-friends turned physical. A nasty dispute between two former friends in February led to one woman being severely beaten and the other facing more than $90,000 in damages after the pair made an appearance before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court last Tuesday. Recalling the beating she received from someone she at one point considered a friend, the complainant said she went to the home of her attacker to visit someone else when the defendant asked her to leave. The victim said she refused as she was not there to see her former friend. She said the defendant became angry and then would not vacate the premises and proceeded to throw several blows at her. She said she was dragged by her hair and thrown down a flight of stairs. She said her attacker also threw a padlock at her, hitting her with a pipe and damaged her phone. The defendant, who pleaded guilty to malicious destruction of property and assault occasioning bodily harm, told the court that she did not want the complainant at her home as they were no longer friends. She said during their fallout, her ex-friend spoke about her behind her back and called her names. She said the latter was part of the reason she was no longer welcome in her space. The claimant denied any wrongdoing. Senior Parish Judge Laurie Ann Cole Montague opted not to go back and forth with the former friends, ordered the defendant to repay the victim for damages sustained in the fight. The total sum being sought by the defendant was $150,000, including the cost of the phone that was damaged. Having revealed that she was already compensated the complainant $60,000 for the phone, the defendant was ordered to pay a balance of $90,000 by May 16. Kingston Mayor tours section of Halfway 3 engages with vendors for heightening collaboration. Mayor of Kingston, Councillor Andrew Swaby, led a team of councillors and technical officers from both the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation and the National Solid Waste Management Authority on a tour of several sections of Halfway Tree on Tuesday, where he engaged vendors who shed light on a range of issues they face. The tour formed part of SWABI's mandate to bolster stakeholders' consultations and collaborations, where he gave a commitment to convene a series of meetings with various sector leaders over the next 3 months. Upon being elected as mayor, I gave my commitment to engage all stakeholder groups, which includes vendors across the length and breadth of Kingston and St. Andrew, and our tour is born out of that commitment to partnership and consultation, SWABI stated. The mayor added that on Monday, he met with Arthur Garden, executive director, at the NSWMA to share best practices as part of this inclusive approach. He believed it was therefore necessary to coordinate their observatories tour to assess the state of cleanliness in Halfway Tree and to foster dialogue with vendors to implement strategies for sustainable solutions. The vendor raised concerns regarding inadequate sanitary convenience and garbage receptacles, as well as an insufficient street lights within the space. The vendors also agreed with the mayor's charge for them to exercise personal responsibility regarding storing their refuse for collection and determining peak collection days based on garbage accumulation patterns. Mayor SWABI will meet with all vendors in the coming weeks to continue consultations on the way forward, which includes selection of a new president for the Jamaica Vendors, Higler and Markets Association. Port Royal Museum to open in May. The long-awaited Port Royal Museum is expected to be open in May of this year, with the first exhibit set to be unveiled at the event. Construction of the 2-story facility, which will be the first fitted for purpose museum erected in Jamaica, was done at a cost of $788 million, with funding from the Port Authority of Jamaica (PAJ). Major work on the building was completed in December 2023, with finishing touches and furnishings left to be done. Director of the National Museum Jamaica (NMG), Dr. Jonathan Greenland, told reporters in an interview that the new museum will replace the older and much smaller facility at Fort Charles. We didn't touch all the subject areas, so we lobbied for the Port Authority to collaborate with us and develop a museum in Port Royal, and so they've actually constructed a huge building with restaurant facilities, lots of parking, multifunctional space, and meeting rooms, shops, and everything that a modern museum should have, he stated. The museum will also be fully accessible to members of the disabled community with wheelchair ramps and an elevator. Dr. Greenland noted that the location of the museum is also of notable significance to the history of the Skinner City. Right on the spot where the museum is going to be, there was a rebellion of the enslavement workers from the dockyard. The leader of the rebellion or uprising was a skilled bricklayer, and when you look at the walls around the whole area where the dockyard used to be, he was probably involved in building that, he noted. He further pointed out that the museum will present a new opportunity for the NMG to attract even more visitors and facilitate cultural tourism. We're very excited, and you know Port Royal is a very interesting place and the history is fascinating. We always have loads of visitors from all over the world without doing any marketing whatsoever, and this is going to be a whole different level of merchandising, marketing, and tourism. This is fascinating history, and it's going to be quite dramatic, Dr. Greenland told reporters. RGD clears first birth certificate backlog. The Registrar General's Department, RGD, is reporting that it has improved in operational capacity to address the printing backlog of first birth certificates experienced in 2023. Persons are allowed the first copy of a chance birth certificate free of cost. However, last year the RGD experienced challenges with providing the service due to issues with logistics. Speaking at the GIS think tank on March 21st, the RGD's Chief Executive Officer Charlton McFarlane explained there were significant delays in the shipping of the security paper on which the certificates are printed. There were several logistic challenges, primarily related to the shipping, that led to a delay in the arrival of the security paper. They were to arrive in September of 2022, but came in February of 2023, McFarlane stated. He noted that with the delay, the RGD had to pivot to prioritize the services that were paid for by customers. Operationally, what the RGD had to do was to prioritize, so for persons who paid for the same day service and the next day's service were prioritized those. We had to go even a step further and tell our customers that even though you may pay for 2 certificates, we will only be able to provide one. The first copy-free service suffered a little, McFarlane noted. He said that the matter has since been resolved and the entity has also added more printers to manage the demand. We have overcome that, and in addition, we also added capacity since last year because for the first time, we have 3 fully functioning printers. We are now able to dedicate printers to the various services. Since that time, we also have received our full quota of security paper, and we also increased our capacity to print our certificates, McFarlane noted. He expressed sincere apologies to customers who were impacted during the period. I know we also made significant efforts to alert the public to the challenges that we were having at that time, but nonetheless, we do apologize for the inconvenience. It was primarily due to logistical challenges with the delivery date and the delivery schedule of certificates, McFarlane reiterated. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.